Hey guys, today we're going to build onto the last video where I talked about the basic AI models that everyone knows and everyone uses, but I'm going to show them practically and how you should use them and why you should use them based on their strengths. So I asked three chatbots, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude, to generate a 4-week study plan based on the fact that I'm a high school student that wants to learn AI. We'll start with ChatGPT. The latest model that ChatGPT has released is called GPT 5.5, as of this video, of course. When I ask it to create my 4-week study plan, it gives me bulleted lists for each week. And as you can see, it's quite concise in the way that it responds. And it's also a bit conversational at times. And it uses emojis quite a bit too. It even includes resources that you can use to learn AI, showing that it uses web search. Next, let's go to Google's Gemini. As you can see, it also gives a bulleted list similar to ChatGPT, but it's a lot shorter and a lot more concise. It also gives links just like ChatGPT did, meaning that it's utilizing web search, as you can see here. However, as you can see, this is not as quality as ChatGPT's response, and this is because Gemini dominates in the multimodal world. So in terms of LLM capability, it's pretty basic and it maybe matches the other two, ChatGPT and Claude, or sometimes it's a little bit behind. But of course I use the Flash model, so maybe using a more advanced model would give better results. Next, let's go to Claude. So right now I'm using Sonnet 4.6, but its latest model at this moment is Opus 4.8. But as you can see, Sonnet 4.6 is a lot more advanced compared to the other two models. It gives me an interactive way to learn my AI 4-week course. And I can click on it and it can give me the things for week 2, week 3, and week 4. As you can see, Sonnet 4.6 is pretty good at making things interactive and easy to learn. And I would say that Sonnet is the best to use as a learning source because of the way it's able to put it in a visual way for humans to understand. Now, what if I wanted to use Opus 4.8 instead? As you can see, instead of just giving me an output right away, it asks me some questions. So let's just answer these questions. I'll just put some random answers. And as you can see, it takes in my preferences before it generates the plan. Okay, so far this has been running for about 2 minutes, and as you can see, it's doing a lot of more deeper research. And in the other 3 that I did, it took probably 30 seconds to generate. It was very short. But as you can see, this one is going really into depth, and it's actually thinking about what my preferences are, and it's doing research based on this. It's saying that, oh, take this course, or oh, take that course based on what I've said. Now, it took another 2 minutes to finally finish, and as you can see, after it does all this research, instead of just spewing the answers out over here, it literally gives me a whole MD file on what to do. And it doesn't just tell me what topics I should learn, but it tells me how I should learn them. It's saying what I can use, it says what courses I can take. As you can see, Opus 4.8 is really powerful, and you might be asking, why don't you just use it for everything? Well, this model is insanely expensive to pay for, and not everyone has access to this model. You need a higher level plan. But the other 3 models are good for beginners who are just starting out because there's not a high likely chance that you'll need such deep reasoning for basic tasks. But of course, if you're going into deeper tasks, it would be great to use a model like Opus 4.8. The reason why Claude's models performed a lot better is because of the type of task we gave it. We gave it something to research, we gave it something to reason about. And that's what Claude excels at, whether it's Sonnet 4.6 or Opus 4.8. If we gave it a more conversational problem, like it needs to talk to a human, it's more likely that ChatGPT would do better because it's able to be more conversational, and Claude is more deterministic. And if we gave it a multimodal task to do, it's more likely that Gemini would perform the best. So, if you remember the last video, we talked about different benchmarks, and one of this was the Chatbot Arena. Just as a refresher, the Chatbot Arena is where humans can evaluate the responses that models give. They're given 2 different responses, they have to rate which one is better, but they're not told which model gives their 2 responses. And as you can see right now, Opus 4.6 is in the lead, and 4.7 is actually behind 4.6. But of course, this is just for text generation. If you scroll down, you can go into web development, you can go to vision. As you can see, Gemini 3 Pro comes up here because Gemini is pretty dominant in multimodal AI, and it's kind of behind in the other sections. And there's also document uploading, which Claude is pretty famous for, which is why most of these models are from Anthropic. You can do text to image, and as you can see, Gemini starts getting a little bit higher in this part. But some people argue that GPT Image 2 is a bit better at this. And same with image editing. In the Chatbot Arena, you can even ask your own question and rate the two models on your own. Right now the server is down, but if it wasn't, I'd show you how this Chatbot Arena works. But it generates one response here and one response here, and you would rate which response is better. And then you'd help contribute to the leaderboard. Another website that I recommend for comparison of AI models is artificialanalysis.ai. As you can see, it does it based on the intelligence of the models, the speed of the models, the price of the models, and there's a bit more where you can look through. You can look through the coding, you can look through the agentic abilities, and as you can see, there's also a context window one. So this gives you general information on the context window of different models. A lot of the bigger ones are at 1 million. You can also look at the model size. So this is only for open source models, as you can see. If you just look through this website, there's a bunch of different graphs that you can take your own time to understand to see what models you want to use. Let's say the price is most important because you don't really want to pay. You can look at the pricing and maybe you'd use this model, this GPT model, because it costs a lot less. Or maybe you want it to be more open. Then you go here and pick the most open model. Or maybe you want an open source model that's the biggest. Maybe you want the biggest open source model, or maybe you want the smallest open source model because nothing will fit on your computer. These are all important when considering which model you want to use. And of course, you don't really have a project that you want to work on yet, but by the end of this course, I hope that you have an idea of what you want to do with AI so that this course can help you choose a model when you are creating your own things. So to recap, as you practically saw by seeing the 4 different models that we tested, the Claude models are best for going in depth, they're best for reasoning, and they're best if you want predictable answers that are always going to be detailed. If you want models to be more conversational, you should use ChatGPT's models. And if you want multimodal outputs, you should use Gemini. And it's important to consider the benchmarks that these different models are evaluated on. But you shouldn't just always trust the benchmarks. And the best way to understand which models are best at certain tasks can be the Chatbot Arena or this website that I provided. See you in the next video.